What is masculine and feminine energetics, and why does it even matter? We're gonna dive into that in this week's episode of Linnea Stella. So welcome to my channel, welcome back if you have been hanging out with me in the past or in the future and you're a time traveler. Anything is possible. Something very big on my journey has been to learn more about masculine and feminine energetics. Because we only know what we know, and when we are not aware of the differences between how the masculine energy works and the feminine energy, that is, the natural blueprint for men versus the natural blueprint for women, we tend to just subconsciously believe that other people think and work in the exact same way as we do. And that is the foundation of conflicts and misunderstanding, and it's just unnecessary. So that is why I wanted to film this video for you, because maybe it's gonna be as enlightening to you as it was to me. So I don't know if you have noticed, but there is a lot of confusion. They are sending out a lot of confusion frequency about everything that is natural, just to keep us stuck in loops, distracted, and not in contact with what is real. And one such thing is masculinity and femininity. But why does it even matter? Why can't everyone just be however they want to be? My answer to that is, of course, you can be however you want to be in the world. But if you have experienced friction, especially in your close relationships, in your romantic relationships, then this video is for you. Because the truth is that the union, what I refer to as sacred union or divine union, and I filmed a video on that a couple of weeks ago, so you can go back and watch that if you haven't already, after you have watched this one. But divine union is really, really, really powerful for bringing back the love frequency on earth. And that's all that I am here for. I am here to help bring humanity back to love, to help bring us back home. Because whether or not we are aware of that, we're all looking to get back to love. Love is our natural state. But as I mentioned, there has been a lot of efforts to bring us away from love, to get us into a collective state of amnesia, where we are forgetting who we are, and that we are love, and that we came here to bring back the love frequency to earth. And a masculine imbalance, uniting with a feminine imbalance, they get into what I refer to as divine union, and that is something that is so much bigger than the sum of its parts. It is not just something that benefits the two people in the relationships, but it creates ripples out into the whole world. They are even felt in the entire universe. That's what I was shown by my soul. So it is super, super potent when we can unite as a masculine and feminine in divine union. And what I refer to as divine union, it can sound very like, woo, out there, airy-fairy, but it really is a healed masculine, a healed man, and a healed woman, basically uniting in a relationship where the frequency, the core frequency, the base frequency of the relationship is love and not fear. And this may sound like, oh, but there are a lot of people who are in love in the world. But most people are actually relating in a state of fear. They're relating on the fear frequency in trauma bonding relationships. It doesn't have to be as obvious as we may think that, oh, it's abusive relationship with physical violence, God forbid. No, it can just be quite subtle, but the relationship is not built on love. The relationship is built on a foundation of, I need something outside of you in order to feel whole and fulfilled. And that is not a healthy state to relate from. We need to relate from a state of being, first of all, in relationship with God. First of all, feeling whole within ourselves, and then being able to share that love with another person. That is what constitutes divine union and what is so immensely powerful. And that is the only kind of relationship that I am open to. And it is quite complicated in the beginning because we don't have a lot of role models for that type of relationship. No, not even in the Hollywood movies. This is something that is very spiritual in nature. And it requires two people who have done a lot of inner work. Or at least the feminine, because the feminine always goes first, and the masculine can almost kind of free ride on her sometimes. That's how impacted he is by her energy. And yeah, it might sound unfair, but the feminine is actually the leader in the energetic realm. So I had a little cheat sheet here next to me, but I went completely off topic. So clearly what you just heard is very channeled. But what I wanted to say first of all is that this is such a powerful topic. Because when we are in our natural polarity, the man in the masculine, the woman in the feminine, we create natural attraction. This is just quantum physics. It is like the electron is drawn to the proton. But neutrons aren't really, they're all neutral. They are like, yeah, they can hang out together, but it's not like this immense chemistry, this spark, this energy dynamic that allows us to download unconditional love from the divine. Because love always comes from the divine. It doesn't come from another person, but it can be shared together with another person if we are in this state of divine union. So when you master masculine and feminine energetics, you're really getting back to the original blueprint, and you're really creating a lot of polarity in your connection. So you don't have to create artificial polarity. Because for two people to be attracted to each other, there has to be some kind of opposing forces. And what happens with people who are in fear-based relationships, trauma bonding, and in relationships that are not based on this unconditional love and this connection with God first, is that they create artificial attraction by conflict, by nagging at each other, by arguing. Because then it feels like there are two opposing forces, but it is not healthy. And it is very draining. So it defeats the whole purpose of being in relationship. Because in the original blueprint, how humans were designed to be in relationship, in divine union, the relationship is meant to overflow. The love that you experience in the relationship is meant to go so much farther and wider than just benefiting the two people. And when we are in this state of artificial attraction, created by conflict, we are draining not only ourselves, the two people in the relationships, but also people around us. Because probably if I'm not happy in my relationship, I will go to my girlfriends and I will complain and whine about he's doing that and he's not doing this. And the same with my partner. Luckily, this is not the case. It's just an artificial example. But I just want you to know that this is created on purpose. This state of confusion, of not knowing your polarity, of not knowing what the masculine is meant to do and be, and not knowing what the feminine is meant to do and be, because you know deep down. And when we get out of this state of confusion program, which is a part of the matrix, there are so many programs in the matrix designed to take us away from ourselves and our true nature. When you get back to your polarity, you feel harmonious, aligned, you attract more abundance. You become more abundant. As a feminine, you become magnetic. Things are just coming to you and flowing effortlessly. That is a sign that you are embodying your polarity. And with that being said, there are also quite a lot of toxic polarity teaching, in my opinion, where it's like, oh, the feminine, she just has to be submissive all the time and look pretty and being just really passive. And the masculine should be almost aggressive. That is not what I'm referring to here. I am talking about the polarity. The polar opposites being the foundation that creates the attraction in the relationship. That doesn't mean that the feminine always 100% needs to be in the feminine energy, and the masculine always 100% needs to be in the masculine energy, because more than anything, we are human beings, and human beings are complex. But I find that these blueprints for getting back to our natural energetics just create so much more fulfillment and clarity. So let's dive into what it actually looks like for the masculine and for the feminine. And I want to keep it quite short and simple, because there's so much that I can say about masculinity and femininity, and I will create more videos on that if you're interested. So flirt with me in the comments if you want more videos on this topic, because it has been so eye-opening and life-changing to me, to be honest. But let's start to talk about something that's called territory. So knowing the different territories of the masculine and the feminine can really help iron out so many kinks and misunderstandings between a man and a woman in a relationship. So the masculine territory is work, purpose, his mission. And if he is aligned and if he's connected to his heart, his mission, the thing that he's doing for his work or in his business, is something that is helping make the world better. So it is not really aligned to be in a job where, well, it is a toxic work situation and he's underpaid and overworking constantly. He's maybe working for something that is creating more harm than good in the world. That is not really the idea here. The idea is that the masculine is following his heart, his natural gifts and talents, and he's using them to do good in the world and also to create abundance for himself and for the feminine. Because generating money in the outside world is more a masculine trait. And it is very important, in order for the man to feel fulfilled, that he has a mission and a purpose and really something that he can pour his life force into. Like, wow, I'm really going out there, I'm conquering the world. That's what makes him feel fulfilled. It is important to him to a greater extent than it is important for the feminine. And for me, for example, I am a feminine woman, but I am standing here doing my purpose. And it's very important for me too. But it's not really defining my character in the same way that it would be for a man to go out and do his work. And that is also why I am manifesting a situation where I don't need to trade time for money. And for example, working full time, it's not really aligned for a feminine woman. And I'm saying feminine woman because of course we have a lot of women who are quote unquote successful, but that is because they are in their masculine energy more often than not. Then of course there is the new way of doing business from the feminine. I'm not going to go too much on a tangent right now, but the way that we traditionally in the past have seen women being successful has been from them abandoning their feminine energy and going into the masculine energy and prioritizing purpose. So all that is to say that the masculine territory includes purpose. That's a very important part for him to feel that he is successful in the physical world. Because another part of the masculine territory is the physical world in general. He feels at home in the physical world, maybe a little more than the feminine. Everything that is about planning, logistics, being at a certain place at a certain time, planning dates, for example, that is masculine territory. And also the physical aspects of the home. So like the aspect that relates to safety, security, for example, having a good lock that keep invaders out, having maybe a fence around the house, depending on where you live in the world, the physical structure of the house, the walls, the floor, literally the container of the house that the feminine energy can flow inside of. That is the masculine territory. So this is very interesting. If we just take a pause here and see that maybe if you're a woman watching this, you haven't really thought about, oh, this is where the masculine energy is the most focused. These are the things that make him feel fulfilled. But of course, love and the relationship to the feminine is what fuels all this. That is how the divine union is meant to act, that the love from the feminine and the energetic support from her, because the energetic realm is part of the feminine territory. We're getting more into that in a second. But by feeling the love from the feminine, he gets the energy to go out in the world, live his purpose, and attract abundance to both of them. I also want to mention the core masculine energetic quality, which is to provide, to give. And that is why we see men who are out of alignment with their masculine energy. They either overgive, they have no boundaries, they're people pleasers, or they want to take from the feminine. For example, narcissists. So now that we understand the man and the masculine energy, let's move into the feminine. So the main energetic quality of the feminine, we said it, the masculine, he wants to provide and give. And that means both in physical terms, maybe gifts, money, but also of course his love. And the main energetic quality of the feminine is to receive. And I like to say that it is to receive and amplify, because it is not just this gold digger archetype, which is unbalanced feminine energy of just wanting to receive and not giving something in return. No, a healthy divine union relationship is about giving and receiving. It's creating this positive circle of giving and receiving to each other. So the feminine, she takes the provisions of the masculine, she receives them with gratitude, and she amplifies the love that he is pouring into her. That is how it is meant to be. So let's go into the feminine territory. And the importance of territory, I should also say, is that it explains the natural priorities of the two. So the feminine territory includes beauty. So we said that the masculine was creating the structure of the home. The feminine makes things beautiful. Maybe she chooses little lamps like these ones. Maybe she decorates the home with flowers, with beautiful ornaments. And maybe she chooses the colors so that it looks beautiful and harmonious, cozy and inviting. It's also beauty in other forms. So to care about your physical beauty is more a part of the feminine territory than the masculine. And I should also add that a part of the feminine territory is to care about the energetics of the living space. So the feeling, how someone feels when they come into the home. Another part of the feminine territory is relationships. All types of relationships, also including to if you have kids, pets, watering plants. So the feminine, she really is like a flower that blossoms when the masculine pours into her, waters her and nourishes her with his provisions and his love. And just like the masculine is more at home in the physical world, the feminine is more at home in the energetic and the spiritual realms. So you can see it as the masculine is protecting the feminine in the physical world from physical danger. The feminine is protecting the masculine in the spiritual world from spiritual attacks, from people who have maybe negative energy, negative sentiment against the masculine. And when this is honored in a relationship, so the masculine takes care of the masculine territory and focuses more on that, the feminine focuses on the feminine territory. She's in a state open to receive. When he is providing and she is receiving and amplifying, it creates this beautiful positive circle that reinforces itself, where the attraction just grows stronger and stronger, like an upward spiral. And this is also something that we are not learning about. We are learning in relationships that attraction lasts for about 6 months and then it will fade, and you need to kind of try to artificially keep it alive, and it needs to be this struggle. That is unnatural. That is a virus program. Attraction is only growing stronger and stronger. The closer the both counterparts in the relationship come to themselves and to God. And a blueprint for doing so is to lean more into your natural polarity. So let me know how this landed for you. I am genuinely curious. And as I said, flirt with me in the comments. Leave any questions, any suggestions for videos you want me to do moving forward. I have a lot of topics coming up, so if you haven't already, subscribe and also hit the little bell. It's gonna come and ring a little for you when I have something new uploaded, and you don't want to miss this, right? And until then, maybe you want to explore your territory a little more, your natural energetics, and just keep in mind that this is not to tell you what to do, because I'm a rebel. I don't like when people tell me what to do, but I like when people help me get closer to myself. And that is what masculine, feminine energetics can do. So just understand that it helps us understand each other better. It helps us understand our different perspectives and see how we can actually join forces and the beauty and sacredness of divine union. So with that, I am logging off and see you in the next video.